This is one of my favorite topics, how to train an employee with no experience. By the end of this video, you're going to see how some employers and business owners have actually found some of their best employees by looking beyond experience, beyond the rock stars, to bring in talent that really does buy into repetition, predictability, and meaning in the mission of what you're trying to accomplish. Hey, what's more valuable, 10 years of experience or 1 year of somebody who's knee-deep into your process and what you want them to do? You can discover the power of homegrown superstars. What if instead of trying to go buy expensive talent, you could actually develop your own? There's a myth that many business owners fall under, and that's this myth of, I must choose between high-priced experience and these sort of low-priced rookies. And what do I do with that? I got this rookie over here, I don't know what I'm gonna get, but I've got this experience over here, but I also know that I might get a diva when they walk in. Let me tell you the truth on the other side of that myth. The reality is, when you hire for experience, you hire a rock star. Hey, I've got 25 years of experience in this. Remember that rock stars come with baggage. They've trashed hotel rooms before. And so the reality is, when that experienced person comes in, a lot of times we have to roll back and undo what they're used to because they've got 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 years worth of repetition doing that one thing, and they might have been doing it not just wrong, but just differently than how you did it. And so if they come in, you do not have a choice. You have to roll back their training in order for them to lean in to the process that you're going to have for them. There's another myth, and I hesitate to do this because I might offend some of you, but it's the myth of the MBA. In our business, we work with a lot of business owners between 3 and 100 employees. And periodically, a business owner, usually that's not a client of ours at this point, will come and go, well, I just hired somebody who's an MBA. And we're just like, oh, it kind of pains us a little bit. Please, if you have an MBA, don't be offended. But let me tell you why. So a lot of times in MBA programs, what they're teaching you is about more borrowed money and high finance and not real life cash day to day that lives and that business owners need to make decisions through. And so it's all about leverage and moving money around and timing and all those sorts of things. And when a business owner is running their business with 8 employees or 12 employees or 20 employees, they really need to think about cash, because not only is cash king, but cash brings options. But if it's just moving around borrowed money, and so a lot of times when somebody comes in with high credentials, we actually have to kind of roll those back as well and go, hey, we just need you to think like a common person, like a scratch sheet and pen kind of person. So let me summarize it this way. Your goal is not experience first. Your goal is fit first. That's what we're going to look at, is this idea of, does this person fit within the culture, what we're trying to do? But in order to know the fit with the culture, we got to know what the culture is and what we want the fit to look like. There's a misnomer when you go out and you think about the product that you're offering. So let's say you're a contractor and you're building custom homes, or you're remodeling, or you're a subcontractor and you're doing electrical services or whatever. Somebody comes up to you and says, hey, what do you do? And you go, well, I build homes, or I run wires in throughout homes, or whatever it might be. Well, what you're telling us in response is what you do. It's the commodity of what you do. And please don't be offended by this either, but that home that you build or remodel, or the wire that you ran, or whatever it is that you're doing, is really a commodity. Even what I'm doing right now. There's a lot of other people that do what I do right now. The product of what we do is a commodity. So I want you to remember this. This would be a good one to write down. Your product is not your product. Your product of building a home, your product of running electrical wires, your product of selling ice cream, that's not your product. Your product is the process via which you deliver that product. That's what makes you unique. The fact that you sell ice cream is not unique. The fact that you build homes is not unique. I could run down a street and I could see 100 different people building beautiful homes. The differentiator is the process via which you deliver the product. Your process is your product. So what you're looking for with that new employee is you're looking for somebody not to fit the product. Hey, I built homes before. I don't care. What I want to know is, are you willing to follow a process that we've laid out in order to build the home, or in order to do these other things? Am I saying that experience is totally unnecessary? No, not at all. Of course, you want to look at it. Just know what you're getting when the experience walks in the door. And you want to be uber clear about your process and less emphatic about your product. So we've identified that regardless of experience, we want somebody who fits with our process. So how do we go about ensuring that that person is actually not only going to fit on the front end with subjective data of what we see, but also will continue on the long tail to make sure that this investment is going to be a good investment, not only for us as a business owner, but also for them as well. So what you want to do is you want to start before they start, you want to keep when they start, and you want to continue as they're going along so that they stay long term. Now, when I'm saying start before you start, I want you to have a pre-hire process. So before they even come on board, I want you to think, what are all of the things that I want this new candidate to know before they come in here about our process. The process of how we do our day-to-day meetings, the process of how we identify culture, the process of how we're looking at vision in the future of what our business is. Do you even know what that vision looks like? Have you written that down? Remember, Michael Gerber said if it's not written down, you don't own it. But the moment you get it out of your head and it's documented, at that point, it exists, it's real. I have been amazed that when we've hired new people, by the way, every single person that we've hired in our business has zero experience with our business. Because our business, coaching and advising business owners just like you, is pretty rare. And so they come in and they've got differentiation of experience. Guess who didn't own a business before he started this business? Me. I had no experience. But we had process and we had clarity on the deliverable that we wanted to be able to bring. So that's why I say it's not as important about the experience as it is about you articulating the process. So it's really about you more than it is about the candidate. So let's pre-hire. What are those things about the process you want them to know before they ever come in the door? Because they may be turned off by it. And you want to find that out before they come and not after they're here. Then you want to continue training when they start. That's taking those 4 core systems, marketing, sales, ops, and admin, lining out all the processes that happen within each one, and lining out through the year, 1 per week. Here's what we're going to train. Here's what we're going to train. Just last week in our team meeting with our business, our administrator trained on proper usage of the business credit card. We train on that twice a year. It's not sexy, it's not fun, but we train on it twice a year because it's in our handbook. And we took all of our handbook and mapped it out over the course of 52 weeks. And then we want to continue training. So we've got the pre-hire, we've got that onboarding time in those 4 systems, but we also, in fact, if you want to take a deeper dive look at that, you can click a video here and I talk about the onboarding process of actually bringing on a new employee. I think it'd be super helpful for you to be able to go look at. From there, we continue training every week. If you're not training every week, it ought to crawl all over you. You ought to feel uncomfortable. I hope you see me in your nightmares while you're sleeping. Not really. That would be super awkward. So let's not do that. But I do want you to feel uncomfortable if you're not training every single week. So how do we identify? What are some markers that we can look at to identify a fit with an employee? The first thing you can do is you, not them, you can be clear on your vision, your mission, and your values. Let me tell you the difference. A vision is a detailed snapshot of the future of your business. Not a sentence, not a paragraph. I'm talking multi-pages. Detailed snapshot of the future. Values are your curbs along the side of the road. Hey, these are the things we will not violate in order to get to that future vision that we see down there. And then your mission, why are you going there? What's the point? 10 words or less. Now, if you watch any of my videos, you've heard me say that my name is Scott Beebe. We work with business owners between 300 employees to help liberate you from chaos and make time for what matters most. That's our mission statement. So you're hearing me say it over and over and over again. What's yours? When you're trying to find the fit of employee, you need to share your vision, your mission, your values, so that they can determine. There's an old statement that's written about 3,000 years ago. It says, write the vision down so that those who read it may run. But notice it doesn't say what direction they'll run. We had a plumber one time, wrote his vision down, shared it with his team. 3 people the very next day quit. He came in, freaked his coach out. Thomas is his coach at that time. He told him, hey, I just had 3 guys quit after I shared my vision with him. Thomas went pale. He thought he was going to lose a client. And the plumber looked back at Thomas and said, hey man, I've been trying to figure out a way to get rid of those guys for the last 2 years. If I would have just taken your advice earlier and created clarity, they would have left a long time ago. So if you want to find fit, read your vision, mission, values, which requires you to have written vision, mission, and values. The second practical thing you can do is a period of due diligence. So as you go through your interview process and you're meeting with them, you're sharing your vision, mission, values, then do due diligence. We actually recommend personality profiling. We use the DISC, D-I-S-C. A lot of people use a variety of others, Colby, Berkman, Myers-Briggs, whatever. But DISC is super easy to understand for simple-minded business owners like me. And so that's why we use it in order to understand the objective personality of the people we're talking to. The second thing we do in due diligence is we actually have them do a homework project. If you're hiring an estimator, get an old set of plans, pay them a couple $100 and let them do an estimate. If you're hiring a salesperson, put them in a truck with you for a day, drive around, pay them for their time. If you're hiring a bookkeeper, set up a test account on QuickBooks. Let them reconcile monthly end bank accounts. Give them a project. Pay them for their time. You're not looking necessarily at the accuracy of the project. You're looking to see how do they get it done. What are the questions? What are the timeliness? Do they follow what we've asked them to do? Can we do that? Yeah, you can. You can do whatever you want. Just don't ask them the dumb questions like how old are you, okay? Stay away from those sorts of things. Third thing we do in due diligence is call their references. Really? Like people still do that? 100%. Call their references. Well, they're just going to give me their home run references, right? Yeah, no problem. And so you'll talk to them like a human being. Hey, tell me about so-and-so. Hey, we're interviewing for this role. Does that surprise you that we'd be interviewing for that role? And at the very end, we always do this. We chuckle. And you got to chuckle like I'm about to do. You go, that's good. Oh, yeah. I got one other question. When you've seen this person get really angry, I'm talking about fiery mad, what gets them upset? What ruffles their feathers? And you know what they'll tell you? They'll look back at you, or if you're on the phone, they'll answer back. They'll chuckle too. And they'll go, and then they'll tell you the truth. And then from there, you'll be able to go sit down in your next interview and go, yeah, we talked to your references. By the way, when you tell them that, what do they hear? Oh, they follow their process. We talked to your references, and here's what they told us. And now you can have an honest conversation based on their personality and based on the references of people who know them very, very well. Do that due diligence. Do not skip it. And listen to what they say. As you're talking to them, if somebody's going to tell you who they are, believe them in terms of what they say. If there are some nuances, some interesting things that you hear and see, believe it, trust it. If they act weird over here, they're going to act weird over there. So understand it as you're going through this entire process. It's going to give you confidence of training new employees that have no experience if you'll take them through this entire due diligence process. I've also got another great video I think would be a great action for you, and that's training any new employee, not just the ones with no experience, but also the ones with a lot of experience. You need to have a method that's repetitive, predictable, and meaningful every single time to train a new employee. So click on the link of this great video. You can take action right now to go build a program on how to train a new employee.